It looks like it's time for another AEW Dynamite review here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Hi, everyone. I'm Warren. Hope you're having a very, very, very good week, or that your week is pretty much done at this point, right? I mean, it's Friday, which is unusual. We usually put these out on Thursday. I apologize for the delay. For those of you who are waiting with bated breath, who are hanging on to the subscription feed and wondering, refreshing every 5 minutes, just pulling down, going, where's the Dynamite review? Well, I misplanned a little bit on my Thursday, I guess. A lot of things happened, and I just didn't have time before streaming. Of course, I streamed last evening. It's part of the new routine over on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. So I want to make sure that was in, but yeah, you know what? Just stuff happens. Nothing serious, thankfully, just, overloaded. And, instead of trying to sneak it in and force it in and create like something that would be a little subpar, I preferred to just like not do it at all. And say, look, I'll do it on Friday. Everything will be calmer, much more relaxed, and we'll just let it all flow the next day, right? I don't think the world is coming to an end because my Dynamite review is not out there. Just getting all the, removing the lint off of me on this dark shirt. Comes across as black, but it's actually like not heather gray. It's a charcoal gray kind of thing. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Why are we wasting our time with this, Warren? I wish I could tell you. So we had an episode of Dynamite on November 13, 2023. 2024. What the hell? Okay. All right. Just business as usual on the Warren Hayes side of things, I guess. November 13, 2024, from the Total Mortgage Arena in Bridgeport, Jesus Christ, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Yeah, it is going to be one of those days. According to WrestleTix, 2,643 tickets were distributed. It's not a good number. It's this same old topic over and over every week. It's just not good. And, we're still waiting for signs that it gets better, right? But it's not getting any better. And I think AEW realizes this when they pulled the plug on the Columbus show from the Nationwide Arena, and now they're doing the Galaxy Con. Isn't that they're doing the Galaxy Con setup for the live taping of Collision, which from the get-go, doing the Nationwide Arena was a bold choice considering where AEW is in 2024, attendance-wise. So I believe that this is a good pivot. It's a smart pivot, and it's something that truly AEW has to focus a lot more on. If going to smaller markets means, no, the opposite. If running smaller venues means they have to go to smaller markets as opposed to the big towns for the weekly tapings, well, so be it, right? I think there's still value in the pay-per-views, and I think the ticket buyer, your regular ticket buyer, also sees more value in going to a pay-per-view. So those would probably work better, will continue to probably work better is what I'm trying to say, in the larger markets, as opposed to, the week to week, which is just not working out. There's, for some reason, when again, this is something we've talked about multiple times, consumer confidence for the ticket buyer is not high right now. For AEW events, it's quite low. For the pay-per-views, it's an entirely different story. They still do good gates, good business, but on the week-to-week basis, no, it's I don't want to say calamitous, but it's not good. In comparison to the last time that AEW was here in the Total Mortgage Arena, we'd have to go back 2 years to 2022 on November 16, where they drew 3,141 people. So yeah, it's a significant drop. It's a 500 person difference. That's significant. That's significant. And I feel like the show on Wednesday felt like the crowd was sparse. It felt cavernous at some points. I don't want to say that this was a bad crowd. I think you got the crowd that was you got the crowd that was present for the show. And it's a bigger arena, maybe not as big as the Nationwide Arena, which is like a 20K seater, but or the United Center, like nothing like that. But it's the Total Mortgage Arena felt empty because at 2,600 people, it is pretty empty, and it affects everything, and it affects the energy of the performers. We keep saying this, affects the energies of the performers. It affects the energy of the live crowd as well. Like and then you get a crowd which doesn't quite seem as responsive. But then you're sitting there and you're doing your thing, you're cheering, but you're in an empty lot, and the acoustics then just like they just go straight up to the ceiling because there's no audience buffer. There's no one in the seats all around to sort of keep it closer, more packed in, kind of thing. So it sounds fuller. It sounds more lively. It sounds real, but look, it is what it is. At this point, I don't know what the turnaround is going to be. I don't know what they need. I don't know what the AEW needs, other than continuing down. The thing is that I think that creatively they're on a very good trend. You can feel that there is thought being put into the booking. You can see that there are stories pretty much up and down the card. We've talked about this a couple of times. Let's reiterate it one more time, but a little more succinctly. There's stories everywhere on the card, even down to the lower card. Like there's stuff everywhere for everyone. You can connect matches happening to stuff happening elsewhere. It just the booking is sound. What do we need? We need something hot. We need something to light it up again. Or, on the flip side, maybe we kind of need WWE to start getting not quite as hot as well. That's also an observation. This is also something that is part of the equation regarding AEW's softer success over the past 18 months at this point. You can point to a lot of things. There are multiple reasons, and I don't think there's one singular reason. I don't think not having stories was the problem. I don't think I don't think it was the problem. I think there were multiple things. One of the things being WWE catching fire again. I've said this multiple times. When WWE when its business is doing good, it is typically bad for pro wrestling. That's just a correlation that goes 1-to-1. Unlike most of us, or a lot of us, like myself, probably you listening as well, we tend to consume a lot of pro wrestling. We watch a lot of stuff. But I would argue that the average viewer doesn't. So if their pro wrestling itch is scratched by WWE, which is a hot product right now, then why would they go and invest another, 4 hours a week, 5 hours if they really want to, if they want to get into Rampage? Why would they do that on top of the 6 hours a week that you get with WWE, right? Because Raw's 2 hours these days, SmackDown, NXT. Like, why would you extend to all of that? Not every people like ultra consume wrestling like us, a lot of people just like, hey, okay, well, I watched my wrestling, on Monday, and for the rest of the week, I'm watching sports. I'm tuning on the Netflix. I'm playing video games. I'm hanging out with my kids. Whatever. That's the kind of situation. That's the kind of situation that I feel entails here. So if WWE is hot and is strong, then everything else on the side suffers. And never forget that one of the reasons for AEW's success was because WWE had been the only game in town and was suffering under the vision of Vince. That was a big impediment, and one of the things that made people watch AEW, because finally pro wrestling without the bad man, right? And a lot of wrestlers went there as well because they could finally do things to actually please pro wrestling fans as opposed to just wanting to please Vince all the time. That environment is gone. These are all things that used to work in AEW's favor that are no longer here right now. They're no longer. The fact that Vince is gone means that there is a competitive advantage that AEW has lost, because Vince being around back when it started was absolutely a competitive advantage for AEW, for both viewers and attracting talent. Now it's not the case. It's not the case anymore. And plus it's hot, and everyone's making tons of money over there. So it is what it is. But we are going to get into today's review of a Dynamite, which I liked. I thought it was very good. Thought it was a very good Dynamite. Didn't think it was great. I think overall, let's say you forced me to choose. I think I preferred last week's Dynamite to this one, but I find there's a lot of stuff to still like on this show. And I think one of the most significant things to point out in regards to this show was the pacing. I thought the pacing was tremendous. They're doing a lot more of the segments melding into a match kind of thing where something happens. Some people in my circles like to call the Heyman special, when he used to do that in ECW, where you'd have something going on in the ring and that would meld into something else, a match or whatever, coming in to take over the segment kind of thing. It'd just be very flowing, very free flowing like that. That makes me happy. I'm glad they do this because it's different. It's different than what WWE does. This is something that WWE will not do because it is important for them, crucial that everything is in its own little box. They don't want to mess with the formula too much. This feels good. It feels fresh, and I like it. And it keeps you on your toes. And there was a lot of stuff happening that just happened one after the other. A very good pace to the show, where we nonetheless had 6 wrestling matches here. We had 6 wrestling matches. And we started the show off with a wrestling match. So this felt like the Dynamites that I fell in love with. The structure, the formula of the show, which reminded me a lot of Dynamites of the past, that got me into this promotion, where I'm like, okay, this is good, right? Because I've been pointing it out over the past couple of weeks. Oh, Dynamite starting with another promo. What happened to the days of AEW starting with a really hot match? Instead, everyone's coming to the ring and starting off the show very WWE like, getting on a mic and cutting a promo. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, now, at least this week, we got things kicking off with a match, a good match, not a great match. Maybe this is the tiny wee bit of criticism that I would give, because in these Dynamites, which I used to love, that followed this pattern here that we're mentioning, in the Dynamites that I used to love, not only would we start with a match, but we start with a great match. Remember how Dynamite used to be structured? Great match Great matches would bookend these shows. Start with a great one, you'd finish with a great one. And that was the template. And that's how everyone worked towards. Now, was this a bad match? Oh, no. I mean, I'm just being, just airing a grievance. That's pretty much it. Just airing a grievance. Just, pining longingly for their, better times, I guess. Because this was I thought the opener was fine. A good match. Not great. But it's just, I remember when Dynamite would open with a great match and then everything would follow and then you'd cap off the evening with a great main event on top of that. Then you go and you're like, God damn, this ruled. Right? Listen, nonetheless, let's go to the match where Christian Cage and Hangman Adam Page defeated Jay White and Juice Robinson. Like I said, this was pretty good. They got there's a little uneasiness between Page and Christian Cage, Page and Cage, Cage and Page, Page and Cage, Cage Page, Page Cage. There's a little dissension or distrust at the very least, right? A lot of people sort of saw this as like, oh, can they get along? But it was never presented as such. Christian Cage and Hangman Adam Page are not at odds. They're not, in your typical, can they get along type of situation in a tag match. It's usually two rivals. It's usually two people who are about to get a match and then they get thrown into a tag team together. And it's like, oh, can they get along kind of thing. In this situation, Hangman and Christian Cage are not involved in any feuds. They're not even involved in the same situation, but there is a distrust about them because there's a distrust, particularly from Hangman, regarding Christian Cage, because Hangman is a guy who goes at it alone. If anything, this situation helped reinforce the idea that Hangman Page is a loner, that he does his own thing and he doesn't trust anyone, and he doesn't even trust another heel. So, and this is, if you want to dig back deep in the lore, this is very Hangman Page behavior, isolating himself, staying away from, not creating connections, staying away from people, not creating alliances or friends, just doing his own thing. I mean, there's a whole entire arc of the Hangman story that is exactly that. So it's behavior we've seen before. When the Hangman gets lost, when he loses his way, he closes himself off. Am I doing a little too much character psychoanalysis here? Yeah, yes. But the point is that this didn't come across as, oh, can they get along? It came across as, okay, like the heels don't even trust each other. They don't even get along here. But they got along enough to get the win in this physical match where they're just dropping each other with huge moves. Like, I love this match. Don't get me wrong. I thought this was really, really, really good. It ends with Kip Sabian cracking the case, whatever, the clipboard, the steel clipboard gimmick that contains the contract for Christian Cage across Juice Robinson's head and got the win. I guess it's not my only criticism, but my main criticism here is, why couldn't have Hangman beat Juice clean? That, I don't understand that. Like, these guys are not on the same lane. They're not even on the same lane. Like, Hangman is a tippy top guy. Juice, and this is fine, by the way. Juice is he's a firm mid-carder. He should not be going around proving to be a difficult challenge for Hangman Adam Page to put away. Like, he can have a competitive match, don't get me wrong, but Hangman should get a win here. Again, I don't know why I don't know why Hangman just didn't finish him. Just, it hit the buckshot lariat and that was it. I don't know why Kip had to get involved to force the win. I understand I understand why they did it, but the point of contention that I have is that Hangman shouldn't be needing this stuff to score wins. On Juice Robinson. Oh, and also in the match, Hook showed up and he grabbed Nick Wayne and started brawling with him and carried him all the way into the audience, into the bowels of the building, I guess. Because, Hook said he was going to come after the patriarchy and take them apart one by one, right? Renee Paquette is backstage. She's with Mercedes Moné and Camille, who are just arriving. Again, more people late for show call. Sloppy shop, brother. They talk and they go into Camille goes into the locker room and Mercedes is left alone. And then Chris Statlander shows up in the back like she's clearly been stalking her and then attacks Mercedes and attacks Camille. And there's this schmoz and they go through a drywall. They go through some drywall, a fake wall that they set up in a corridor. They just went right through it. You know what I was saying? You should do things differently than WWE. And I'm sitting here and I'm doing, the everything flowing into the matches and the pacing. That's different, right? But then you come and do this, which is such cookie cutter sports entertainment presentation that we've seen over and over again. Like it's not even that shocking. It's not even that surprising. I kind of groaned. Again, this feud with a very questionable segment. Like last week was the terrible car thing with Camille trying to run over Statlander. They even talked about it this week. I was like, let's just relegate this to memory and never speak of it again. And then they do this, and I'm like, okay, like why isn't Chris Statlander going out there and beating up fools? Like going out into the ring and just beating people up. Why isn't Mercedes Moné getting warmed up, having an eliminator match, right? Like they like to do. Have it be a squash. Doesn't matter. Like, let's just do shit in the ring. This is lame. Then we get the Ospreay Fletcher segment. And now we're cooking. Now the gas is on. Will comes out alone, of course. And he calls out Fletcher, and Fletcher comes out, and he comes out alone as well. And he gets to the ring, and then Will is like, look, I've been in these Don Callis family meetings. Empty your pockets, bruv. And so that's what Fletcher does. And of course, he has a screwdriver, which he hands over to Will Ospreay, who then like spikes it right in the mat on the outside of the floor, on the outside of the ring, right? Just spikes it right into the mat. I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's impressive. It's just like, all right, maybe he is an assassin. There's some back and forth about the past. They're talking about, Will is basically super mad and at Fletcher, especially after everything he's done for him. And, he also acquiesces that, Fletcher knows where he lives, where he trains, knows everything about him, and but Fletcher responds that Don Callis opened his eyes and he sees the truth. That is, Will Ospreay was just doing everything he wanted to keep him under his wing so that he could do all the dirty work, so that he would be nothing but another version of Will Ospreay, right? And he calls him a hypocrite and so on and so forth. So this essentially gave us all the motivations for Will Ospreay as to why he's pissed off at Kyle Fletcher, right? And this was tremendous. This was very, very good. Like, it was heated, it was passionate. into it. They're both trying to to get the sentimental win here. Both trying to get over that their version of history is the right one. And then at some point, Will is like, you got to tell me, Kyle, you have to tell me what you have accomplished, right? Because I've been around the world. I've done this, and I've won Best of Super Juniors. I've won the junior heavyweight title. What have you done? And not with Aussie Open. I'm talking just you on yourself. What have you done? Right? And Kyle says that basically he's going to surpass him in every possible way. So it's very good. It's very good. And that's where he challenges Ospreay to the match at Full Gear. Ospreay accepts the challenge. And he also puts over the fact that, he's still selling the Tiger Driver, that it's this devastating move. Says that he can't feel, he doesn't have full feeling in his left arm or whatnot. And then Lance Archer and Brian Cage show up. And Will Ospreay's like, I'm not a dumb baby face. I'm not a dumb baby face. I've come with backup too. So we have Will Hobbs and Mark Davis who show up to flank him. There's a schmoz, and it's tremendous. There's this one moment that I noted here, that I wrote down here, is when there's a moment where Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher are jaw-jacking with each other, right? They're not fighting. They're just like shouting at each other. And then out of the blue comes Will Ospreay, and, he just wallops Kyle Fletcher, like blindsides him, right? And you can see Mark Davis go, oh, come on, man. Like, just like, as if to say, Will, I was trying to talk some sense into him. This isn't helping. But Will is fired up. Will is mad. He's pissed off. His entire promo was very aggressive. So, he just wants to beat the kid up. But it's an interesting little wrinkle here, because don't forget, the last time that Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher spoke, Kyle didn't cut ties. He just basically told Mark Davis, you've got a choice to make. At some point, you're going to have to make a choice. And, he's never come after him, never tried to single him out. And here, Mark Davis wasn't even fighting him. So is there something brewing here? Maybe. We'll see. Maybe not. Whatever. It might just be a beautiful red herring that will lead to nothing. But I thought I think it's something interesting to just keep an eye on, keep an ear on, keep all your senses on, even the taste. Keep your taste senses active on Mark Davis. Might be a little hard, but do what you can. Do what you can. Then we get this. So all of this, what this leads into, what we've been talking about, is Lance Archer sort of stays alone in the ring, last man standing, as everyone brawls the fuck around and into the back, and that has Roderick Strong come out, and so that they can have their match. Of course, Roderick Strong has to win this match in order to fight in order to fight MJF at Full Gear. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match on top of that. Yeah, look, for the time that was allocated for this, I thought this was very effective. And it's one of these situations that a guy like Lance Archer shines. It's just tremendous stuff. And Roddy gets the win doing a flying knee strike over the barricade, as they were brawling like out into the arena, and he does a flying knee strike over the barricade right onto Lance Archer, and he gets the win that way. So Roderick Strong's spot for Full Gear is set. That one is safe. So he's secure on that end. Good little match. It's fine, Nothing that you're gonna write home about it, that we're gonna remember, but nonetheless, that's what we got. And the story is moves forward. It's fine. Now, after the match, Roderick Strong gets on the mic, tells MJF he's going to finish him off at Full Gear, and then Konosuke Takeshita blindsides him and starts beating him down, which leads to Adam Cole coming out for his match with Konosuke Takeshita, who is beating down Roderick Strong right now in the ring. Look, this is tremendous. Another Heyman special. Maybe all these Heyman specials that we're getting are maybe Tony Khan is giving us all these Heyman specials to warm us up for the November Rain montage that's coming up this weekend. I'm telling you, look, he's got to use, he being Tony Khan, he's got to use the entire 8-minute 57 runtime of that song. He has to use the whole thing. It can't just be, right? And he broadcast the whole thing, Tony. Broadcast the whole thing. That's how you win a quarter hour. Like, no one's, it's going to be great. I'm so excited for it. Like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. The ECW throwback, I'm excited for it. Splice in footage of Tony, splice in footage of the finish of the exploding barbed wire death match, and then cut to Shane Douglas laughing from the ECW video. That's how you should interact things. Not interact, but make the callbacks to things that happened all the way back then, Anyway, so we get the match with Adam Cole and Konosuke Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita defeats Adam Cole on top of that. This is probably Adam Cole's best match since he came back to action after the injury. But then again, he's in the ring with quite possibly one of the best wrestlers on earth right now. So of course you're going to get a good match. I'm just glad they decided to go. Now, hear me out here. This isn't this is not a 4-star match. It's fine. If 3.25, 3.5 maybe kind of range. I thought it was good little match, and most definitely the best that Adam Cole has looked and felt. I love the attempt for the Panama Sunrise that Takeshita blocks, and then that leads into the wheelbarrow German. I was like, okay, this is why I fucking love Konosuke Takeshita, right? But basically Takeshita has to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring to get the win. I know some people got really annoyed at that. Think it got them actually upset, but it ties into what happened last week where, someone showed up with Don Callis with an envelope of money and gave them the ring so that they could use the ring to defeat Adam Cole. So Takeshita had to use it. So it punctuates the fact that MJF is the reason why this happened, as opposed to Adam Cole suddenly feuding with Takeshita. This continues to add to the fact of the matter that all of this is happening because of MJF, because he doesn't want Adam Cole to fight him, or he doesn't want to fight Adam Cole. And so it makes sense. Is it the greatest finish in the world? No, but you know what? We're going to have a great finish to a match later on in the evening. So, you can't have it all, folks. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? And that's always been a weird expression. And someone once explained it to me, and it still doesn't make sense. I still don't understand it, but okay, it's fine. Let's stay on track, Warren. But yeah, Cole basically loses, so he's not going to be facing MJF at the Full Gear. He's hitting the bricks. He's taking a powder, and MJF is shown in his quarters, his study, wherever he's been for the past month or so. Just having a good chuckle, having a good little laugh, having a gas. He thinks this is top-notch stuff. And then, however, back in the ring, Takeshita starts laying the boots all around once again, but Kyle O'Reilly makes the save. Babyface Kyle O'Reilly coming out. They're all baby faces now. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. who weren't, right? When Kyle, well, I don't quite remember. No, I don't want to go down that path because I don't quite remember. But they're all baby faces now. And Kyle is like, that's it. When Kyle came back from injury, he wasn't sure he wanted to team up because he was a baby face and they were heels. There you go. That when they started the Undisputed Kingdom gimmick. And now they're all baby faces. He comes out to save his pals, but he still won't shake their hand. But in the meantime, over at the top of the ramp, Konosuke Takeshita is walking back. He's heading back, and he gets blindsided by Ricochet, who just takes him out, and Takeshita takes a powder, heads off, and Ricochet is left there holding the international title. So, look, it's good stuff. You see how everything just felt connected, and you're like, man, I can't look away right now. I can't move away. I can't go to the bathroom. I can't look at what's happening on Blue Sky. I can't take an emergency call from my mother. I can't do anything about this because everything is just flowing and connecting and is making sense. I got to keep watching. I like these quarters here. All of this there that we've been talking just flowed in naturally, and I loved it. I thought it was very good. I believe this is the moment. It could be later. My notes are not super clear here, and I hate it when I do that. Yeah, I think it's here that they announced that the Continental Classic is going to be happening in 2 weeks' time, which is tremendous. So not next Wednesday, which is the go home show to Full Gear, but the Wednesday after Full Gear, we're kicking it in, and the Continental Classic is starting. Now again, all I want, Tony, and you still have time, I want the fields released before Wednesday in 2 weeks. I just want them released ahead of time, and I want the dates. I want the field all set up so that we can do some predictions, so that we can break down this stuff. Sports-based presentation, you got a tournament coming? Let's do it. Let's go, brother. What are we doing? It's silly, but it's a key component. It's a key component to getting people excited for the C2. You just break shit down. That's why we get excited for the G1, because you can take a look at the field and start planning stuff out. But all we need are the dates and the field, and we're good. That's all you need to release, Tony. That's all you need to I know you don't want to distract from Full Gear. I get that. I understand. But you do this and you are getting free publicity up and down the internet. Because people are going to be posting about it, talking about it, doing prediction shows, doing bracketeering. It's yours to take, Tony. It's free money, free advertising. Then we get the Death Riders, who arrive in a pickup truck backstage, outside in the parking lot. Then Renee Paquette interviews the Hurt Syndicate, specifically Bobby Lashley, but MVP takes over the segment and does it like, no, Renee, let me show you how to do it. And it's very good. It's a good little segment. Yeah, I'll say it again. MVP is tremendous. He is absolutely phenomenal in this role. Just, Bobby Lashley might be the crown jewel, but Jesus Christ, if MVP isn't the glue that holds all of this together, I don't know what is. So then the Death Riders come to the ring, and this was a very disappointing segment. I didn't think it was anything special. I didn't think it was anything remarkable, especially since they had announced, right, that they had hyped up that Jon Moxley is going to seize the TBS Superstation. He's going to seize it. What did he seize here? He seized nothing. He seized the opportunity to just do something that he's been doing over the past couple of weeks. And then, Orange Cassidy coming out to cut his promo. That didn't quite connect either. I thought this was a very inefficient, it was an inefficient, kind of tepid, very tepid segment where nothing really new was gained, gleaned. It was very average. I thought Orange's delivery was very Orange Cassidy, but also not great considering the situation. And look, don't get me wrong. I don't want Orange Cassidy to suddenly like start being fired up about stuff all the time. That's not who he is. But we got to try and figure out something else here than him coming out and cutting Orange Cassidy-esque promos in this regard, right? I like the idea of him being, I like the idea of him being distressed, of his friends getting injured and that he's doing nothing. I like all of this, but we've talked about it in recent weeks. They being AEW absolutely flubbed elevating Orange Cassidy after his big international title run last year. And I think that if they had done so, if they had taken the opportunity to truly elevate him to another level, I think this whole feud would hit very differently. Now the thing is that what needs to happen is we have to feel emotionally involved in how Jon Moxley is going to break apart AEW, right? And bringing out Orange Cassidy to be the defender of AEW makes sense. Day one guy, a dude who's improved tremendously on top of, well, I don't want to say improved, but broke out. How about that? He broke out in AEW, became an organic star for AEW. He's one of the most over guys in the company. But because he was never really elevated and has always been a mid-card guy, no one is buying that he has an opportunity against Mox. Whereas Darby Allin is just coming in all fired up and throwing himself off of, gates to, with purple sting masks to take out people. And you're like, oh, let's fucking go Darby, right? Darby's lighting the fire. So that's like the emotional investment so far from the audience, I think, was more interesting when Orange was seeing his friends get decimated by the death machine, the Death Riders, as opposed to what happened on Wednesday, where it's like, well, yeah, we're gonna try and have Orange cut this really invested promo when Orange Cassidy's entire thing is, whatever, there's just too much dissonance there, keeping us from getting fully invested. And again, I don't think, the opposite is, I don't think having Orange Cassidy come out and be all fiery is the solution either, because that's very non-Orange Cassidy-esque. He gets fired up in the ring once he's confronted with situations. That's a whole other thing. But on top of it all, it's like no one is buying Orange Cassidy beating Jon Moxley at Full Gear. So you got to get your hype train going. You have to get your hype train going in another way, right? Anyway, we talked about Darby, because all of this, the conglomeration come out and, they're flanking Orange, and then, everyone starts fighting. There's the big schmoz that happens. They do the thing with Darby, and this all goes to the outside where Moxley and Marina, are getting into the truck to hit the bricks. Claudio comes in, he gets in the truck, and they're about to go. Like, they're leaving. No sign of Wheeler Yuta. They're leaving him behind. They're about to go. But then Darby Allin jumps into the bed of the truck, of the pickup. So Claudio comes out to handle him, and he spears him into the loading dock gate, right? He spears him into that, just like launches him into that, then picks him up and big swings him right into it in a tremendous spot where I'm like, holy shit. See, that rules. This is good stuff. And then the Death Riders, because of this interruption that gives Wheeler Yuta time to get to the truck, and then they all speed off together. Anyway, not a super successful segment in my thoughts. Not terrible, but not successful. I didn't like it. They've done better. They better have something really jazzed up for next week, is I guess ultimately. But and then like, if they're going to walk this line where it's like Jon Moxley can take control of anything and do anything anytime, and then not do anything, that's also going to get old really fast. That's gonna get old really fucking fast. Renee Paquette is with the Learning Tree backstage. They cut a promo where Chris Jericho drops knowing Tenryu because he's going to be fighting Tomohiro Ishii. And Jericho's like, we wrestled together for War, WAR. And I know Tenryu. Back then you were just a young boy and you were washing my back. Okay. Sure, Chris. I'm sure he was. But basically, yeah, they're basically setting up they basically set up the challenge from Tomohiro Ishii on Chris Jericho for in 2 weeks' time, I believe, right? It's in 2 weeks for the Ring of Honor title, I think. I might be mistaken. Britt Baker defeated Penelope Ford. Look, if you like a match where there's a lot of stalling, this one was for you. I thought it's a little sloppy at times when, Penelope Ford is involved. So, it's not going to be the crispest match, but it wasn't terrible. I don't think it was super sloppy either. I want to give it was fine. It was fine. How about that? It was fine. I thought Britt looked good here, and she gets the win with the lockjaw. And Serena Deeb then comes out after the match while Britt Baker is standing tall. She has her flag because she can't go anywhere without a flag. And yeah, there we go. This leads us to backstage where Mina Shirakawa is there. And they're talking about Mariah May until Harley Cameron comes in. And she does this move where she takes the champagne glass that Mina was holding and drinks it, but she wraps her mouth around the entire rim of the glass and then knocks it back, which is awesome because that's something I used to do. I would do exactly that. And there's all you can do is just like knock it back. There's no, you're not sipping, you're not drinking, and just administering all of the liquid like right into your mouth, and it's tremendous. So I felt a certain level of kinship with Harley Cameron there, and Harley Cameron basically challenges Mina to a match, and they start shaking their tits, and I don't want to downplay it. I thought the absurdity of this situation put it over. Because it's so absurd. I found out recently that Harley Cameron used to do was a burlesque performer, which explains a lot, quite frankly. And to me, that's even more tremendous. But it really does explain how she gets the absurd in all of this in pro wrestling really well. I know it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I ended up laughing because it was just like so over the top and ridiculous that it's like, okay, all thanks to Harley Cameron, of course. Then we got Swerve Strickland versus Lio Rush. This rocked. I thought this was very good. Very, very good. They're doing all sorts of, they start the match. They establish the idea that Strickland and Lio Rush know each other, the mentorship type of situation. So Lio Rush is trying to do his little misdirections, his little misdirection runs. But Swerve is like, he's stepping right into the spot where Leo's moving. And you're like, okay, all right. We had a match here, and it was good. That flip, that double flip out of the ring that they did together was absolutely tremendous. Was that was like, okay, this is now this is cool. This is fucking cool. And it got even cooler when they did that Poison Rana sequence, right? That ended with the Poison Rana, right? They have Lio Rush do her a Rana off of the commentary table, and Swerve blocks it. So he's got him. He's got him there, lifts him up into a power bomb. Lio Rush wriggles out, goes to attack him again. Swerve pops him up, but Lio then lands on the stairs, and from the stairs performs the Poison Rana all on the floor. Just like a tremendous sequence. That was tremendous. I don't know what to tell you. There's some great back and forth. JML driver for the win for Swerve, of course. That's what we were all expecting. And then post-match, Strickland gets on the mic, cuts a good, natural promo, and, basically saying, everyone tries to take him out. They can't. Lio Rush, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, you're next kind of thing. Why don't you come out right now? You got nowhere to run. MVP and Bobby Lashley come in, and that serves as a distraction for Shelton Benjamin to attack Swerve from behind. And then Lashley gets in, gets his licks on Swerve. Prince Nana's trying to interfere, but MVP's choking him out with his walking stick. Tremendous stuff. Simple, efficient, well-planned, well-thought-out angle. Just a good little, efficient, super efficient. And Bobby Lashley, my God, it just works. It all works. Jamie Hayter is being interviewed backstage, and as she's talking, the screen suddenly goes to black, and that leads us into a Julia Hart vignette. Another great Julia Hart vignette. They aired one on Collision. They did another one for this show here. They're very good. They're very, very, very good. Like the imagery, the thought put into it, the production value, it's all tremendous. Like, it's really good. Like, they are going to push Julia Hart when she gets back. This is clear as day. And it's another good one, combining the horror aspects. She's torn between herself, who she used to be, and what she's become with the House of Black stuff. It's tremendous. The thing that I'm wondering is why did it cut off Jamie Hayter the way it did? Are we establishing, because it cut off so bluntly, as you wonder if this was a production mistake. If it was WWE, I'd be saying, no, this was not a production mistake. But it's AEW, which kind of has a track record for production mistakes, so I'm not so sure. I can't call this as oh no, this was absolutely planned. It could have been a goof. It could absolutely have been a goof. So are they establishing that Julia Hart, when she comes back, she's going after Jamie Hayter? Oh, let's have this conversation in a little while. And then that led us to our main event, where the Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King, defeated FTR to move on to the multi-person match for the tag team titles at Full Gear. Private Party are here watching that as well. And this match rocked too. We had two rockin' and sockin' matches that ended this, and everyone worked hard in this match. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on, and there was some creative stuff. And again, once again, Brody King comes off as the coolest guy on earth. He's just tremendous. He works super hard. His offense looks credible. He's just a beast. He's a tremendous pro wrestler. The FTR guys seem more than happy to sell for him as well. And I love the finish here. I absolutely love the finish. Where you have King, who's just laying into Dax, right? He's landing these big moves, and Dax is always kicking out. He kicks out twice of Brody's big offense, right? So what does Brody do? He grabs him and puts him into a sleeper. And you're like, oh, here comes the big FTR comeback. You were wrong, pal. There was no big FTR comeback. Dax went bye-bye. he fell asleep. I'm like, holy shit, this rules. This is a very good finish. 2 big ass moves. Dax is kicking out. And then Brody's like, all right, I'll put him to sleep then. Fantastic. You don't see matches being ended with sleeper holds all that often anymore. And not that I suddenly want a return of the sleeper hold as a legit finish, because sleepers are, generally kind of boring. But the fact that Dax was, resisting and resisting, being unable to put down, and Brody felt he had to go to this because this was the only way to put him down, was tremendous. Like, the logic was perfect, and the fact that it's a move that doesn't finish matches all that much anymore, like very, very rare. I think it added to that because we weren't expecting it. I think the unexpected nature of the finish puts it over the top for me. I thought it was tremendous. A 4-star ending. I thought it was great. That was pretty cool. And then they shake hands, the FTR and the Black Throne gentlemen. And yeah, I was kind of surprised also by the finish. I was like, oh, FTR. No, but it's not FTR. We're doing the Kings of the Black Throne. Isn't that a shame, though, with Malachi Black being on his way out, that he's still winning matches? Anywho, we're going to wrap this up for today. So a good Dynamite. I thought it was a lot of fun. Overall, there's just, I think the main problem is that the main angle of the entire promotion just, on this night did not land. I think it didn't land. And I'm kind of fearful that they're running out of gas on it already. Hopefully not. And hopefully we just need another opponent than Orange Cassidy for this to really start picking up some true steam. I think, and this is again, not disrespect on Orange Cassidy. I just don't think he's the right guy in this spot. That's all. In this particular spot. But we're going to wrap it up on that note. Thank you all very much for listening today. Why don't you leave a like on this video if you don't mind, or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, 5-star rating on Spotify would also be great. I will be back Monday for more Mr. Warren Hayes streamings on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, the Mr. Warren Hayes show proper will also be available on all platforms on Wednesday. Thank you all so very much for joining me today. I'll see you go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. And now we'll see you next time.